boot camp, right? Is that right, Sharon? It was one of the boot camps for the
Yeah.
regionals in
Yeah.
Texas or New Mexico.
Right.
And so Sharon sent me a message on a Sunday, and she's like, I'm gonna do this talk that I did at the boot camp. If you're free, hop on. And so I got on really quick, and I was just super impressed with it, and I really liked everything that she said, and I felt like I wish I would have heard it 5 years ago. That there was a lot of things that she said that I was like, yep, and I felt like I wanted her to be able to share it with everybody, and I wanted to have her, she was kind enough to do it again and to do it live for us so that if we had any questions along the way, we could ask her, because Sharon has a tremendous amount of confidence, and I feel like the confidence that you get every year is just amazing, and I hope to one day be able to have her confidence. So if she can give a little bit of that to us tonight, I think all of our lives will be better, because it's not just applicable in the Juice Plus world. I felt like it was so applicable in life in general. And one of the things I've learned about this business is how it helps you in different areas of your life that you didn't think needed to be affected. So having said that, Sharon, it's all yours.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I've seen you grow in confidence all, through your journey. So it really is a personal growth journey. That's why you got to be okay with the journey, okay with building your confidence, realizing that this business is a personal growth journey cleverly disguised as a business, and that it will seep into other areas of your life. And, Doug and I have been doing a lot of personal growth listening and learning. And his new thing is figure out what it is you need to learn about. Like, what if you feel like your kids are driving you mad and because of if you could work out the one thing about your kids, then maybe that's the part to study. There's tons of books, there's tons of things about that. For him, he's realized that he's an introvert, and yet he wants to be able to go to network meetings or to be in this business. And so he's reading about how you can be an introvert in this business. So if you felt like confidence was something you wanted to work on, there's tons of books and websites and things like that to study. So the reason why I picked it to talk about is I feel like there's a lot of extra work or just like ruminations and things that don't need to necessarily occur if you work on some of the areas that I'm going to talk to you about, because we don't want you to feel underconfident. We want you to feel very comfortable being in our community. And so I'm going to just share with you some of the things that I've put together, and just know that I've been with the Juice Plus business doing this for like 19 years. It'll be 20 in September. So over time is how you build confidence, and it is a skill. But I'm hoping that a lot of what I'm going to share with you will cut down the amount of time it takes for you to feel confident in your own shoes sharing Juice Plus, because I think that is one of the things that could hold people back, right? So I'm going to just share my PowerPoint. Let's see what I thought I did. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, so I did mute you, Kristen, but maybe you could tell me if you see that.
I see it, yes.
Okay, all right. And so I also wanted to say that as we're talking, I'm not going to be able to see the chat, but if you want to type things, I know Kristen wants this to be all about you guys, all about your team. And she wanted to have this as like a gift to you. So if you could chat in there, about what's helpful or what maybe you're struggling with yourself, then I think that would be a very good use of the chat, if you feel like it. You don't have to, but I think it would be nice for the team. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to get started. And one of the things that made me also want to talk about confidence is I've been a pod leader for the Brave Leaders program, and I hear people's stories and I hear their hearts, and I love listening to them. And I know that they are a little underconfident, so they'll say things that they're just not owning who they are, or how awesome they are. And so that was another reason why I put this together, because I feel like if you're in this community, you've got the heart. Sometimes we put in our minds that we're like these slimy salespeople when we're not, and we don't want to be. And so we have that struggle that happens. And so this should help you to just talk about the things that you do know, talk about the things that you are comfortable with. So why should we work on our confidence? Confidence is attractive. It's people are going to want to follow someone who is confident where they're going, right? And so whether you're leading somebody just to make simple changes, or whether you're leading a team, you want to be confident, or whether you're leading somebody down the path to better health or to get on Juice Plus, they're going to be more attracted and to listen to you if you are more confident. And it will help you to grow this business. They say, be attractive, attract people to the business. And so it will give you that in return. And we're going to talk about the 4 areas that we usually call the 4 beliefs of this business, yourself, the product, the business, the company, those different areas, and so if you have belief that you've built to like a 10 in all those areas, then you're going to be super confident. And so we're going to talk about those different areas. So confidence is a skill you can develop. It's not going to happen overnight. So sometimes you just have to be comfortable with the fact that you've got to work on that, and I think a lot of people want to feel sure and comfortable in our community. We would never want you to do something that you that are not in line with your values. And but yet we do want to move a little outside the comfort zone to be able to progress. Depending on your goals, you want to always push yourself just a little bit to move outside your comfort zone. And so anyway, we don't want to have a weak posture when we're talking to someone, and we'll get more into that. You want to know what you know. So as you start learning things, you want to lean back on what you do know, and you want to confidently come across to people. And that does come with experience and exposure. That's why it's really important to plug in to our community. You can't be expected to know everything if you don't plug in on Voxer, or go to events, or go to the conference, or go to boot camps, or go to trainings, or listen to things online. Like there's so many things that you can do to build your confidence. And like I'm listening to things all the time, so it doesn't really end. And the more you can do that, the better. It all adds up. And it will also help you to be lovingly persistent, because if you know something that's going to help somebody and they're just kind of like, whatever, it will help you to then follow up with them to say, what, this would be really good for you. I know that this is a bad time or whatever, but this is going to be something that you're going to want to know about. And the example I used on the last talk was continuing to follow up with a doctor who is a customer of mine, but she's kind of, not that consistent. And I was really trying to lovingly be persistent to get her to Dr. Du Bois. So even though, she may not have been interested, she said, I will try, after I was like, took one extra step. So sometimes it'll help you to be more lovingly persistent if you have confidence in what you know. I'm going to go back in time a little bit. This is Doug and I about almost 20 years ago. Matthew was, his birthday was just the other day, a couple days ago. So this is really like 20 years ago. And so I was introduced to Juice Plus when he was 6 months. And so it was after this. And as you could see, we weren't the healthiest looking. We look a little pasty and inflamed. Of course, I had been pregnant. But anyway, if you saw my pregnancy picture when I was 40, I looked so much healthier because I had made a lot of simple changes. But this is where I was coming from at the time. I was not a healthy eater. I knew nothing about nutrition. And, we just had that first baby. And so around 6 months, thank goodness, my friend introduced me to Juice Plus and took us on a better trajectory to health, which many of you have great stories about that. And it was at a time when I needed to learn how to feed Matthew. And thankfully in time for Daniel, because he came right afterwards. I got pregnant when I was 6 months old. I mean, when he was 6 months old. And so thankfully I had Juice Plus by then. Anyway, but this was mostly to show you how long it's been that I've been sharing Juice Plus, because here is how big everybody is now. So I had the 2 boys in a row. They're now 19 and 18, actually 20 and almost 19. And then the other one is 12. She'll be 12 in a couple of weeks. And so it's been that long of a journey. So when I tell you about, the journey, it's been that long. And here's how busy I was when I was really kind of trying to do the Juice Plus business. I didn't have a total vision for what it was. I was amazed, really. I was amazed that I could bring home, say, the car payment plus insurance or something around this time. And after Matthew got to be about 3 is when I really got the vision that I did not want to go back to work. I had been able to be home because my husband's salary increased at the same time that I was able to stay home, and my in-laws had let us move in for really cheap, 3 condos down and stuff like that. So I was able to be home and have great, extra income from Juice Plus, but I didn't really need the income. It wasn't until Matthew went off to speech for all day, every day, that I was then with Daniel. And I was like, oh my gosh, Daniel's going to go to school one day and I'm going to need to go back to work, because I had just gone back for my 2nd master's degree and I still had student loans and I was still expected that I was going to go back to work eventually. And so though I thought, what if I could ramp up this business? And so that's what I did. And I was able to, after having that realization and making that decision, I was then able to really ramp up the business and make it to national marketing director within 7 years total. So I've been able to be home with the kids all this time, and even have the 3rd one many years later, because I was still home. Thank goodness. If I had gone back to work, I probably wouldn't have had the 3rd baby, which is our princess. But it was around this time, and being home with the kids, well, for me, I lost my confidence. And so my friend had said to me, well, I'll go back to this first. Around that time, when I had those 2 kids, and they were that age, everybody was doing these wellness presentations. It had been the new thing that kind of came out, but they were very long and intense. Not like Tamara's salad jar party today, where you just mention a few things. They were like 5 pounds of sugar, fortification, vitamins versus whole food, all kinds of information. We showed happy meals. We showed all kinds of stuff. So I was very resistant to that because, again, I did not feel confident. I was not a healthy eater, and I was making simple changes, but I was not the healthiest. And so around that time, I said to Julie, I said, if I have to do a wellness presentation, I might as well quit. Because I really felt a lot of pressure, and it was kind of like I was feeling a lot of shame myself that I didn't feel like I could do that, the wellness presentation, because she was signing up new people direct to her, and I called them Boca Babes. They all were healthy, and they were doing wellness presentations. My downline team member, Abby, was also doing wellness presentations. And so that kind of left me like, okay, everybody's doing them, but I'm not. And so that's why I said that to Julie. Well, later, my friend said to me, Sharon, where did you go with your confidence? Where's your confidence? You used to be a high school guidance counselor and you're able to speak to hundreds of people, whatever. But I had been home with the kids, and also it wasn't an area in which I felt confident. But over time, successful people do what they are scared to do, right? And so what I did was what Abby suggested many years ago, which I thought was really good because she appealed to my thinking, because I was a schoolgirl. I knew how to study. She said, Sharon, why don't you just study the wellness presentation? For you guys, the wellness presentation is on missiondrivenmodel.info. It's under product event, and then there's a script. Like, you could just study that. And so she said, why don't you study it? And then if you forget something, no one will even know that you forgot anything. You know more than all the people in the room anyway. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I went out to the hammock. I would study. I would go in front of the mirror. I'd come back in the house, go in front of the mirror and practice. I'd go out to the hammock, and then I would come and practice. And so, over time, that paid off for me. And so success equals opportunity and preparation. So then once I was ready, I then had the opportunity. I met Stacy Turner, who you guys may have heard of. She's a national marketing director under me. And I was able to say, I can do a presentation for you at MOPS. Of course, I had never done that before, and I had never even done the wellness presentation, but I said that because I had studied it. And then also she started and became a distributor. We did like 6 wellness presentations in a row to get her to sales coordinator, and then she moved. But every time I would go to her house and do a presentation, I would listen to Mitra Ray, Dr. Du Bois. I would start getting that lingo in my head so that at least I sort of knew what I was talking about. And then I would stick the doctor into the recording. I would put the tape into the VHS tape. It was that long ago. And so anyway, so that was my routine of making sure that I could still do what I was supposed to do. But I put in a ton of preparation. So if you're uncomfortable with something, you just want to study up on it. You want to be prepared. You want to know your resources. You want to use your resources. So we have the doctors in our back pocket. We can always use them by sticking that video in or referring to those videos. And there's tons of videos on all different things. So we rely on those. And what I came up with eventually, because a lot of people, sometimes they're like, well, I wish I was a health coach. I think I might do the Dr. Sears thing, or I think I might do IIN or whatever. And I think it's more of a comfort. People want to feel like they can be that expert before they can talk about Juice Plus and all that it entails. And I don't think that's true. I did do something like that a long time ago. Dr. Pam Popper, she had a wellness coach course, and I did it, but I still don't even bring it up. Our information that we shared during wellness talks or One Simple Change, or even at the salad party, the why behind fruits and vegetables, that it's not a vitamin, and what Juice Plus does and stuff like that, that appeals to everyone. No matter where we are, we always want to tell that educational segment. Well, anyway, what I came up with over time to feel comfortable being in the front of the room is that it's just like when I worked at Hartford Insurance. I knew nothing about insurance, but they trained me, And so I thought, okay, Hartford Insurance trained me in homeowners, slip and falls, auto accidents, how to talk to lawyers, all that, just from doing, really, and also taking tests and learning. But the same with us. And so this is the key point, if you do want to write this down. I used to say, and I used to open up some wellness presentations just to make myself feel comfortable. We are trained by a network of professionals that I'm going to encapsulate what I've learned from them. Because if you've gone to Inspire Healthy Living lectures, if you've listened to the Healthy Living Revolution webinars online, if you've been plugging in and you hear these different things and you start to really understand the link between nutrition and disease, then you're being trained by a network of professionals. Then I start naming some of them. Because I'll think, okay, Mitra Ray's a biochemist. I'll say, like biochemist, Dr. Du Bois is infectious disease. So I'll say infectious disease. So what I'll say is, we're trained by a network of professionals within the Juice Plus company. Thousands of doctors recommend Juice Plus, and we get to hear from them and go to their lectures and things. And, some of them are biochemists, infectious disease doctors, OBGYN. We've got personal trainers. We learn from all types of healthcare professionals. So that made me feel better, that I did have that training, whether I had that coaching or nutrition background or not. And then always having the doctor in the back pocket. And then the other thing is, if you are presenting to someone, because that is what we do. We listen, we find an opportunity to present. We want to make it our own, so the salad jar party that Tamara had, she made it her own. And so you guys just take what the Juice Plus company has and you make it your own, and you make it what you want it to be, whether you want it to be salsa and sangria or mom's brunch on a Saturday morning, or you just talk about what you do know, but you make it your own. And that's what I did. I only talked about what I wanted to talk about and what I felt I could talk about. And then I was empowered. So when I learned all that, I learned the wellness presentation, which I suggest you do, whether you go out and share it or not. It's good for you to check out that script, print it off, kind of memorize it so that you have some bullet points. You'll feel empowered. And you'll feel empowered to talk to doctors, chiropractors, teachers. Like I'll keep using tomorrow's salad jar party as an example. Now that she's had one, she knows what it's about. She probably went to one before, I don't know. But now she could even go to daycare centers or corporations and say, I always did that too. We are a healthy living community, or something like that. You just say something like that. And we do salad jar parties, and I would love to come implement that at your whatever, corporation, your office, your school, because we have a lot of good resources. We offer really good stuff. And knowing what we do offer and what we're about and the, information behind Juice Plus, you can go out and talk to anybody. We really are the most researched nutritional product in the world. This research summary is under your quick links on the virtual office. You can print it. You can put in your website and your phone number. It'll print on the bottom of the second page. And this is what I always brought with me, actual research journals. Whenever I would do a wellness presentation, that was something I kind of leaned on. Not necessary anymore. It's all online. But these are nice to have whenever you feel like, okay, I'm going in a situation where I'm not super confident. I want to print these off and say, hey, here's the research studies. Like if you're going to go to your own doctor, I used to just give the next research thing to the doctor, And so this is something that you can use. And actually, I had memorized it. There was a time when Amy Getz, one of my upline mentors, said to me, Sharon, I think you should build your belief in the product. And I said, well, I think my belief in the product is a 10. And she said, well, you'd be surprised, if you memorize the research, your belief will go even stronger. So back then there wasn't as much research, but they have it really nicely laid out here for you, that you could run this down really quickly for anybody. You don't need to know every journal or anything, but you need to know it gets absorbed. It then reduces oxidative stress, helps reduce inflammation, helps your immune system. I always say within 80 days, your T cells are up, your natural killer cells are up. Your DNA is now less damaged because of that oxidative stress being less. And then your heart health, there's at least 5 studies showing better heart health. That's just a real general rundown, but being able to know the research in your head is going to help you with helping your team if you end up on a 3-way call with somebody, or by just talking to a doctor or anybody, because a lot of diseases can be tied to inflammation or can be tied to oxidative stress. Who doesn't want a better immune system? So because I had memorized it, I also could then apply it in my mind. I could wrap my mind around things, who doesn't want a better immune system? That's something I would say. And so also just know that there was a meta-analysis of all whole food products in the whole world to see if there is any research that is comparable to our Juice Plus research, the number of studies. There was only one product in Germany, and it was like aloe or something. So there is no other whole food product that has as much research as we do, so that people will never catch up. Even if they tried to be a knockoff of our product, they're not even going to ever be able to catch up. Okay. So you can be super confident about that. And the big deal about the Juice Plus product also is that it's product specific research. They actually use Juice Plus. They're not borrowing from some berry and saying therefore Juice Plus does this, or borrowing from an orange and saying therefore. And it's the gold standard of research. It's randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, crossover studies, human trials, peer-reviewed medical journals. Okay, so you can be super confident when you are talking about Juice Plus. So when you're talking about Juice Plus with somebody, are you, like, say, for instance, if somebody says, well, can I take it while I'm pregnant? You know, if they say something like that, then are you saying, let me go get some documents or something else? Or are you saying yes? As you become exposed to the community and as you learn more, you can confidently use one-liners, just yes, you know, just because that will save you so much time and effort. You don't have to go looking for extra ammunition for people when you know confidently that it works. And the more stories that you hear of people's lives changed will help you. That's why events are important, stories are important, all that stuff, so that you can confidently say, absolutely, it works. Yes, this will help you. You know, I always like to say good nutrition is good for everyone. So if they say, will this help with diabetes? I'll say, absolutely. Good nutrition is good for everyone. So you don't have to go into any extra things, okay? You just confidence. Confidence is king, okay? When you could just answer the question, say, absolutely. And then you could always say, this is a good way to get concentrated nutrition every day. And if you guys want to do a screenshot of this afterwards, oops, hold on, let me move my people here. And then I'll say something to somebody like, you know, I'd like for you to take a look at this. I know it'll be good for you. Can't you say that to people? Don't you guys know that it will be good for people? Right? I mean, absolutely. So you just confidently say, I'd like for you to take a look at this. I know it would be good for you. Okay. Thousands of doctors recommend Juice Plus, and then I'll say, and mine too. Yes, I know lots of people who take it while they're pregnant. So these are just confident answers that you don't have to then go searching for people for extra information. And then, so when I'm doing a talk, you guys might notice whenever I do a talk and I'm on the page with University of Mississippi and MD Anderson, I'll say, you know that it's safe and it's effective. It's being used on pregnant women and ovarian stage 4 cancer patients, and it's also being used on children at Nemours. So some of the things that I say is also what I've had to tell myself. You know, in order to be confident, I'd have to say, you know what? I can't imagine if I took like something, let's just say this, to University of Florida and tried to get them to use it, you know, whatever's in here on some people, right? No way. We've got so many awesome universities and medical centers that back us. And so you know that it was already proven safe and effective before they would ever use it on their people, right? So sometimes you have to tell yourself that so that you can come across confidently. And then I always recommend the trio blend and the shake. And I'll say things like, this will definitely cause a transformation for you. And if you do 2 shakes a day, you'll get even more results and quicker, you know? So just confidently sharing that. And then Wendy Campbell has pointed out, it's really awesome. She's so smart. You know, I've always said that fruits and vegetables, every time you look up any disease or disorder, it's always going to say, you know, eat more fruits and vegetables. It's going to be one of the first recommendations. But she's now saying that everything that's in our SHRED guidelines, those lifestyle choices, you're also going to see that on the list of everything that's going to help those diseases and disorders. So our community can really be within the lifestyle changes that everybody needs when they're battling something, you know, whether it's to now get rid of gluten or dairy or to stop doing this or that. It's within the SHRED lifestyle changes too. So it's pretty good that we are on the cutting edge of all that. And that's what you should really embrace as well. And then with Juice Plus, I'll say, you know, it's not like buying a vitamin or a supplement. It's like buying a new body. Do you guys feel that? I don't know if you've had that experience, but for me, I feel like it's like I got a new body. So what price are you going to put on that, you know? Okay. And then when it comes down to explaining, you know, people signing up for this or that, I'll say, you know, nowadays everyone is signing up for the trio blend. And then I'll maybe even say people sometimes add the omega, and we call that the quad as well. You can sign people up for the duo, the red and the green, but they're not going to have as many results and as quickly. And so the more Juice Plus that they take in, the more results they're going to have, and quicker, The sugar in the complete, when they ask about sugar, has the glycemic index of broccoli. That's something that came up the other day. People sometimes say, oh, how much sugar is in the complete, or that seems like a lot of sugar. So this one new distributor asked me about it, and I said, the sugar in the complete has the glycemic index of broccoli. And she says, that's all I need. And she hung up and she went to the guy. And lo and behold, now he says that the shake has helped him get off his ADHD medicine. It's like, wow. But if we would have, had to go look for documents and go back and forth talking about the sugar, but, this is just a one-liner that you could just say, no, the sugar's not a problem. It's, the glycemic index is very stable. The sugar is very stable. Whatever you have to say that you do know, that's what you say. Okay. And then she's like, well, how do I know something like that? And so this is where it comes in for you guys too. Going to events, being on three-way calls, like how many three-way calls have you guys gotten Kristen on with you and a customer or a potential customer or a new distributor? How many people have you guys gotten me on a call with? Because you would hear some of those things, So keep that in mind, that we can help you to learn some of this stuff by just being on a call with you. You can say, hey, do you mind if, my friend calls with me? She knows so much, something like that. Anything that you could do to get us on a call with your people, it'll help. And then we also can probably help introduce the business too at the same time, if it seems right. If the person's excited, they love what they're learning, because really this is a lot about education. Okay, so three-way calls, events, things like that. That's how you learn those little one-liners. So let's talk more about sharing Juice Plus. Listen more than you talk, A lot of times people get anxious because maybe they've got their own agenda, but if you're just listening, it will happen naturally. Health will come up. You could just do a one-liner. The other thing is, if you feel like you have to, let me see, I think I have it here. Don't get hung up on don't get hung up on whether they order on the spot. Realize it takes a number of exposures. Those kinds of things help you to just listen, to know that it's not like jewelry. They're not going to look at it and say, oh yeah, I'm going to get that one. So being able to just listen and relax, knowing that you're just going to give like a one-liner or something. And if they're curious, then you're going to send them something later. Or as they walk out the door, hey, I know we talked about Juice Plus for a second. Do you want me to send you some information? They'll say, yeah, sure. And then they go on their merry way. It doesn't have to be that you're like all intense in a conversation with somebody for 30 minutes or something. It's just you listen to them. You might mention Juice Plus, but then you don't have permission really to present Juice Plus at that point. You want to wait until they want more information, or you say, hey, do you want me to send you some information? And then this is the text that I tell people to send out. I recommend the Juice Plus Trio Blend, fruits, vegetables, berries, also the phenomenal shake. I wouldn't do without it. My family takes it. You can say how long, whatever. And then you send the 2 videos that we send, or 3, depending on what you guys are doing. But I send Bridging the Gap. I send Janet Roberto. There's now one with Dr. David Phillips on our missiondrivenmodel.info on what is Juice Plus. There's also a link where you can send, and it has Juice Plus, the Tower Garden shake, everything on one link, including Dr. David Phillips with the shake. Anyway, the other thing is feeling confident in what you recommend. So if you're taking the Trio Blend with your family and you're doing the shake once or twice a day, that's what you recommend, not try to watch out for people's pocketbooks. That's what we used to do many years ago, until we realized, these people deserve to take what we take. And why wouldn't we tell them, what we take? So, that's where the I recommend part comes from. Plus, you do know more than they know, and you know that you recommend it. So use those words. I recommend. You'll see it's magical. Talk about what you do know, and you do know a lot more than others about this. Okay, so that's part of it. And then when what you have to say is more important than what others think of you, fear will stop being an issue. So usually it's fear of talking to people that holds people back the most. And I love that quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. You know, we have some important information that we are sharing with people. We absolutely are making a difference in people's lives. You know, our team is called Transformers, not because of some kind of machinery or special superheroes or something, but because we're transforming people's lives. You know, we really are. We've seen it over and over, including you guys. You know, if I hadn't said yes, who knows where you guys would be. So it's like the ripple effect that you guys said yes, now other people are affected, and what we're doing is a really good thing. So you want to get yourself out of the way, is what Wendy Campbell says. Stop thinking about yourself and think about the people you can help. So let's hear that again. When what you have to say is more important than what others think of you, fear will stop being an issue. Okay, so if you think about just what you're sharing. And then you want to build your confidence in the industry. You know, if you think about it, whole food supplementation and awareness is on the rise. And this was something they started 25 years ago. The company will never let you down. They are so wise. They think way into the future. They've been gluten-free since I started. And gluten-free is just, you know, recently becoming, you know, something big, right? So the company's totally wise in what they're doing. Also, whole food products are now in the stores. There's whole food stores. There's whole food products in Publix. And so, you know, we're part of the wellness industry that's on the rise. And then more people are wanting to stay at home and do little side businesses in a gig economy, they call it. And so we even have a video called that on thefreedomrevolution.com on that front page. So, you know, more and more people want some kind of business like we have. And I just saw, I don't know if you guys are friends with Gordon Hester, but he's going and speaking to universities about network marketing. And it's taught in certain colleges and business schools. So it's not like this is not a reputable type of business. Sometimes people get confused about that. It really is a very reputable way of making income. And then the younger generation, they prioritize, and I think so do we, quality of life. They don't want to be in a building for 8 hours a day, you know? And so this is very attractive to the younger generation, especially. It always has been with the baby boomers as well, to have that quality of life as far as health and wellness, but also to have a better life. Are you reading books? Are you listening to audios? Are you listening to podcasts about the industry, about network marketing, about wellness? You know, these are ways in which you could shore up your confidence as well, right? One of the best books, if you don't have it, is Robert Kiyosaki. You can get it on richdad.com, The Business of the 21st Century. That is about network marketing. And he was so right. That was written, like I read that like 20 years ago. And so, you know, it's really neat to see all these things come to fruition. Okay, so, and then building confidence in yourself. Okay, so if you're scared to make a move, it's usually about you. You're thinking about yourself and being anxious, but if you thought of the other person, get yourself out of the way. That will help. Do you believe this could help that other person? Do you have something that could make that person's life better? Aren't you thankful someone shared this gift with you? So sometimes if you fall back on, and these are things that I've used for myself, that's why I can share it with you, is I've had to think, okay, how can I start my story without feeling awkward? I'll say something like, I'm so thankful, you know, because it's a gift that I was given. If not, you know, who knows where my family would be. But same with you guys. Isn't it a gift? Would you want anybody to take away your juice plus? No. You can start your sentence with that, you know, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without this. And you can say this one simple change, or this easy way of adding more fruits and vegetables to my family's diet. Or I'm so glad or so thankful that my friend gifted me with this education many years ago, you know, anything like that. So thinking of it as a gift, and not worrying about whether people are judging you, you know, and do you have a gift to share? Okay, so then I have to keep moving my people, sorry. Let's see what else is on here. Okay, so this is the other thing. You know, when I was listening to the people in my pod, they were kind of like, you know, I could just hear the negativity that they tell themselves. And they would really just say, well, and part of the Brave Leaders is to do three-way calls, which you can call them connection calls, so it doesn't sound so weird. But to do those kind of calls, and people would say, and they've been in the business for quite a while, I haven't done those, or I'm not sure I'm comfortable with those. And instead of, like, I want you guys to just listen to yourself and what you're telling yourself, or if you're teachable, that's one of the things with this type of business, you want to be teachable. And so, like, I wasn't teachable when I said, well, I'm not doing that, I just soon quit. But then, of course, I did it later. But anyway, as far as the wellness presentation, but I could have stayed there in that state, but instead you want to think about, well, what if I did? So using three-way calls as an example, you could say, well, I haven't done that, I'm not comfortable doing that. So do you want to live in that and continue in that? Or do you want to think in terms of, well, what if I did? What if I did? What if I had 5 this week? What would happen to my business? What if I did do what I think I should be doing? So sometimes a lot of what I've done in this business is coach myself, listening to the things I'm telling myself, knowing what I should be doing. Like, there's always like something knocking on my shoulder saying, okay, your next move should be this. And knowing what you're supposed to do next, and saying, well, why am I not doing it? What if I did do it? How would my business change? Wouldn't that be exciting? Okay. And knowing that every day is a new day. You don't have to be that person of yesterday who didn't do three-way calls. Why not today be that person who did? Or that person that wasn't comfortable doing whatever yesterday. Why not the new day? You could do anything. You can dominate a new day, right? And so if you think in terms of, I don't have to be that person of basically saying no and not being teachable to whatever it is, right? So then you want to switch your thinking to the future and what you do want. That helps you to get over whatever obstacles you have. And one of the good books is Brian Tracy Goals, and it really helps you to switch your thinking into the future. So into the future, if you say, well, I'd really love to make my car payment or make my house payment or buy my husband a new car or whatever, then your mind starts thinking about, well, how would I get there? So this goals book is really good about thinking into the future instead of looking into the past. Like, the rear view mirror is a lot smaller than the windshield. We want to look into the future and what we do want. And that helps us move forward. And that helps us to build that confidence in ourselves. The other thing that I learned from this book, it's really cool, and there's a whole story behind it, but if you find yourself blaming, complaining, or whining, then you're like a victim, okay? But if you switch that, if you find yourself blaming, complaining, or whining, say to yourself, I am responsible. I am responsible. And that puts you in the driver's seat of whatever that is, And so there is a whole story about that. But just try that out. If you find yourself really upset about something, say, I am responsible. That kind of puts you in more of a proactive stance of solving your own problems. And then succeeding in small goals will lead to confidence. I'm sure you guys have seen that over time, whether it's with the kids or whatever. And this is an awesome book by Earl Nightingale, and it's actually probably on YouTube where he spoke it. It's called The Strangest Secret. It's really cool. It's like very old, and it was on some radio. And anyway, The Strangest Secret is a really good book. And so success in that book is the accumulation of very small goals that you've met. So say you come up with a small goal with Juice Plus. Every time that you meet that small goal, that will build your confidence. So come up with little small goals here and there, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I did this or that. And then being proud of our business. It takes a lot to shore up these confidences or beliefs, okay? Ray Higdon is on a podcast. You can always listen to podcasts. He's really good as far as network marketing. He says, don't be obsessed with what others think. Eric Worre says, you will lose some social credibility. Educate people. Don't listen to their first objections. People don't know what they don't know. Okay, so he says you'll lose some social credibility. But our job is to educate people and to not always listen to their first objections. I don't know why I put that there. Please don't people don't know what they don't know. Okay, so we want to be patient and loving. But what I did want to tell you about this part is sometimes if we're hiding our business from our family or our relatives and we're not proud of it, then we might be working more on the I'm too cool syndrome than on helping to build the business. You know, we don't want to listen to people who are not in our business because they really don't know. And so what an example would be, like, say your relatives come into town and there's a really important event, but you say, oh, I can't be on that event or at that event because my relatives are going to be in town. But yet your relatives would not mind you being on a Zoom for an hour. You know, and I used to do this. I would be, say, at Myrtle Beach, and I would think, okay, I'm going to be on vacation, and, you know, you're with your relatives 24 hours a day, but, you know, why not say yes to a Zoom? You've got 24 hours. It's not like you have to be on vacation with the relatives and intense looking at them for 24 hours. They really probably would love a break of an hour, right? So anyway, just kind of knowing that if you're protecting your family always from your business, whether it's you're not making shake for them, or you're not bringing them to an event, or you're not saying, excuse me, I have to go work my business, then you might be also not trying to be proud of your business. So trying to work on being proud of your business and saying, yeah, I'm going to the conference, you know, I'm so excited about this business. That's going to help build your confidence also and get the support of your family. You might lose that social credibility at first, but if you take the business seriously, they're going to take the business seriously also. So if you're not treating it like a hobby and hiding it, then really acting like it's a business, they're going to support that. I hope that all makes sense. That was a long time to get to the real answer there for you guys. Okay, so, and then Brene Brown says, don't listen to people not in the arena. You know, in the arena are the people who are in your community of this team who know what it's like to get rejected or feel like you're rejected or whatever. And then some people are like worried that they might come across as a salesperson. Stacey Turner likes to say, if you're worried about being weird, don't be, you know? And so sometimes when people are desperate also to get a sale or whatever, they start posting things or doing things out of character for them. We want you to be real, you know? If you're excited about your shake that day, then post about that, but don't post something that you made up because you might get a sale from something, you know? Do the 30 reasons sheet. This will be really helpful for you guys to write out 30 reasons why you love your Juice Plus business. And this is just an example of one that Wendy Campbell kind of culminated together. And it's on campbellteam.net, password Campbell Team. But you guys, you want to just sit and do that. That will help you to know why you're doing this business and why you're proud to do this business and why you're proud of your company, why you're proud of your product. And they say only do 5 product related ones. Just try to come up with 30 reasons. And that's going to actually help you to be able to speak about the business a little bit more than you probably are, right? And then I use this, you know, there's a lot of things that I do to help me to become confident. So this is something I put together as a talking piece for me because I want to come across confidently to people who are taking a look at the business. So there's the quadrant up at the top left about, you know, what's awesome about our product. Then there's what's awesome about the company and also how it's sold, and that we don't have a big product line where you have to know a lot and, you know, a catalog. So a small product line is better, doctor recommended, consumable, all the things that I love about the business. You can get this. It's come around Voxer a number of times. I'm sure Kristen can get it to you, but this is what I talk off of if I'm talking about the business. So things like this that get you excited, you just want to write them out. You know, you want to just do your self-coaching, you're figuring out what will help me feel confident while I'm talking to somebody about the business. For me, this is it, you know. Also the 30 reasons, then you know why you're doing the business and what you love about it, right? I hope this is making sense to you guys. Okay. I think I'm going to skip this part. I feel like it's extra. So do you believe it all? You know, you have to ask yourself that question as far as Juice Plus, and are you all in? Because sometimes when you're not all in, then you're not going to be as confident also. And so part of this business is knowing who you are and being in it for the long haul and being congruent with what you say you want. So if you say, oh, I want to become a national marketing director, but you're not really pursuing it, then it's not really congruent with what you say you want. So you want to just always make sure that you're in line with what you're saying you want out of this and pursuing that, moving forward in that way. And then keep doing the activity. You know, as I was building to national marketing director, it was always one event a month, every month, one event a month for myself. And then there's events that you go to when you have a team that you help support them too. 2x2x2 calling, that's another thing. You know, anytime you're doing the business, you're moving in momentum. So the 2x2 is talking to two new people, talking to two people that you met, you know, or talked to a few days ago, following up with them, doing customer calls and doing team calls or doing calls to get team, right? With this business, you have to move from worker mentality, because a lot of people come from a work job to realizing you have to create your own work to build this business. You have to create things like when I said, oh yeah, I can speak at MOPS, or I could go to that doctor's office and do a lunch and learn, or I can have a table here or there, or I can go out and meet people at a Mommy and Me, you know, so that I can help to meet mommies that I think I would want on my team. All that stuff is creating work so that you can build the business. Nobody's going to tell you, hey, you know, clock in and do this amount. It's different. You go from being a worker mentality to a work creator. And I've always loved building this business. It was always something for myself, for my family. It's something that my kids can inherit, which is going to be phenomenal for them. And so to be able to build something for myself and put the time in for that, which I loved anyway, instead of like when I was at work, the work would never end, you know, but you're building it for somebody else. So moving from being a worker to a work creator, thinking, how can I build this business? Do I need to get out of the car early, stay late, help clean up, meet people? How can I create extra people to talk to, basically? Okay. So consistent action, discipline to keep going regardless of busyness or great growth. Those things will help you to be just very consistent and to keep going. Even if you feel like you're doing great in the business, you still want to always have a consistency to this business. And I think that's going to lead into that thing that I'm going to read to you guys. Okay. A lag in momentum or consistency, that's going to probably give you lower self-confidence. And so there's this whole thing that I'm going to read to you. How are we doing on time? Goodness, I feel like I'm talking forever. And I do just have a couple more things. Hi guys, I see you. So this is a really awesome thing that I read when I was like a sales coordinator. And it made so much sense to me, because sometimes we feel like we're doing the business, but we're not. It's because we feel guilty, or we feel like we should be doing this or that, or maybe we haven't done something for a while. We haven't done our calls or talked to people, or we haven't plugged in to things, and we start to feel guilty or underconfident, mainly because we lack momentum, but also maybe we just aren't doing what we think we're supposed to be doing. So this was a really awesome thing for me to read many, many years ago. It's always stuck with me. It's called The Danger of Neglect. So I'm going to read it to you. People loved this the last time, so you can get a copy of this later. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. The primary reason most people are not doing as well as they could or should can be summed up in a single word: neglect. It's not the lack of money. Banks are full of money. It's not the lack of opportunity. America continues to offer the most unprecedented and abundant opportunities of any nation in the last 6,000 years of recorded history. It's not the lack of books. Libraries are full of books, and they're free. It's not the school. The classrooms are full of good teachers. We have plenty of ministers, leaders, counselors, advisors. Everything we would ever need to become rich and powerful and sophisticated is within our reach. The major reason that so few take advantage of all that we have is simply neglect. Many of us have heard the expression, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We may debate the validity of this familiar quotation, but what if it were true? If by performing that simple act, that one simple discipline, we could be more healthy and alert and active throughout our lives, then would it not make sense and would it not be easy to eat that apple every day? Assuming the quotation is true, why don't more of us eat an apple a day, every day, to maintain our health? If it is that easy, there's such a tremendous award attached to the discipline, why do we not do it? Because the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. That's how subtle failure is. Failure is largely a function of neglect. We fail to do the small things that we should do, and this seemingly insignificant license carries over to those things that are important to do. All neglects have a way of becoming major oversights with the passage of enough time. Neglect is like an infection. Left unchecked, it will spread throughout our entire system of disciplines and eventually lead to a complete breakdown of a potentially joy-filled and prosperous human life. Not doing the things we know we should do causes us to feel guilty, and guilt leads to an erosion of self-confidence. As our self-confidence diminishes, so does the level of our activity, and as our activity diminishes, our results inevitably decline. And as our results suffer, our attitude begins to weaken, and as our attitude begins the slow shift from positive to negative, our self-confidence diminishes more, and on it goes. Failure to do the things that we could and should do results in the creation of a negative spiral, which once started is difficult to stop. And that's from the book, The 5 Major Pieces of the Life Puzzle, which is great, by Jim Rohn. So I don't know if any of that rings true for you, but I know it always did for me in regard to customer care. I always thought, oh man, I'm not doing, such a great job on customer care. And it just all made sense to me, because sometimes we feel like we're working when we're not really doing the A activities, the income producing activities, because we keep thinking we should be doing something. Sometimes it's like this business gets in your head, and the more you can focus on the income producing activities and doing those consistently, then you're going to feel like you're not neglecting anything. You're moving in consistency with that discipline. I hope that makes sense. Okay. You just want to summarize, you want to train your brain to not think negatively. This is an awesome book. You guys can take a screenshot of this afterwards. Train Your Brain talks a lot about visualizing positive outcomes. So if you are going to go talk to somebody, why not visualize a great outcome before you go there? And you're going to go there with more confidence. And also, oops, there we go. Doing positive affirmations, saying things like, I'm worth it, I'm worthy, I'm enough. If you're an athlete, you can say, I'm an athlete. I'm going to dominate, whatever it is, you should come up with affirmations so that you can feel super confident going into any situation. Knowing that we don't expect perfection, and nobody does, and that you can do this business imperfectly. That would be a better way to do it, believe it or not, because imperfectly you actually get things done. If you wait for perfection, you will not get things done. I learned that many years ago listening to one talk, and she said, if you're waiting to perfect like a perfect letter and send it out at a perfect time, the right envelope, whatever, she's like, just write something and stick it in an envelope and get it done. So you want to just do it imperfectly, just get it done. Realize that you are the messenger, not the message. And then you want to work more on yourself than anything else in this business. Here is an awesome book by Brendan Burchard, High Performance Habits. And so if you want to write either one of those books down, those are really good. Okay. Recognize your own objections, but I'm not a wellness coach. I don't eat healthy, all that. We have to overcome our own objections, and maybe speak to your sponsor or leader about those so that we can help you. Don't compare yourself to other people. They say that that's a cancer. Be yourself. We want you to be yourself. We don't want you to be a robot of somebody else. Don't water seeds of doubt. Like if somebody says, oh, but that's a pyramid, and you start thinking bad thoughts, or you start going on the internet and looking at things, the more you water that seed of doubt, it's not going to be good for you. You want to just, stay very positive. Lean on the network I'm trained by, which we talked about. Okay, this is an affirmation that you could do for yourself or to think in terms of, instead of saying, I want to be whatever, whenever, you could just really focus on how much you're committing to personal growth instead. And that will kind of even out the playing field. We're all on an even playing field when it comes to working on personal growth. So here is an awesome affirmation from Think and Grow Rich. I am just as worthy, deserving, and capable of achieving extraordinary levels of success in all of my goals as any other person on earth. The only thing that separates me from those at the top is my level of commitment. So from this moment on, I'm 100% committed to becoming the person I need to be through daily personal development and living with daily discipline to easily attract, create, and sustain the levels of success I truly want and deserve in my life. So instead of saying, you know, I want to be this or that, you're basically saying, I can be this or that. It's all up to me, you know, and my level of commitment to work on those daily disciplines. And then here's a second part to that. I know that to do this, I must be willing to stay committed to my goals and doing what's right as opposed to what's easy at a level that I've never been committed before. I commit to reviewing these affirmations at least once a day in the morning and when I wake up, and ideally again before I go to bed at night, then immediately taking actions necessary today to take me where I want to go. So having affirmations, visualizations, things like that, that will all help. And, you know, the time is always right to do what's right, as Martin Luther King would say, and we have an awesome thing to share. And just know that everyone, you know, was once an amateur, a beginner. You know, this is 20 years later for me. I'm still, you know, underconfident at times, but, you know, still doing what I need to do to get it done, right? Will it be easy? Nope. Worth it? Absolutely. And so the end of my story, I don't know if everybody knows, but I was able to have that third child. I mentioned that, and that was a gift. You know, it was a gift to be able to be home with my kids. It also is such a gift that now my husband's able to be home doing this business, you know, where he went from eating chicken wings while I was doing wellness presentations and I considered sabotaging what I was doing, to then getting on board and making simple changes and being part of this business, because this really is one of the best places to be. He felt like this was a better community than he had ever been in, and he wanted to invest in this and invest in you guys. So it's really neat that my husband has been able to now be home. We live this different flexible lifestyle that's unlike anything else, where Juice Plus is our main income stream. It is our retirement. It is everything. And it's allowing us to be home with the kids daily, you know. And he just made national marketing director, which is awesome. And we're going to be celebrating in Sacramento. So, you know, this business, the gifts keep coming. You want to invest in it as much as you can so that you can build your confidence and keep making those steps to move in the direction. I didn't know that was the direction any of this would go. I just put one foot in front of the other, kept doing whatever I could to better myself all these years. And that's what you guys can do. Just continue to move in that direction. And so I'm going to unshare and hand this back to Kristen.
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you, Sharon. I hope that everybody was able to take from it just what I did the first time I heard it. Hearing it again just made me more and more happy. I want to get a list of all the books that Sharon had in there, and then I'll put it in Voxer so that if I know some of you on here are big readers, so that way you can read it. I don't know if anyone, I know it's getting late, but if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask them now. You can send them to Sharon and I in Voxer. We want to do anything that we can do to help you become more confident wherever it is that you want to be. I know that I certainly am more confident than I was even a year ago. Part of that, I think, was the Brave Leaders program. Part of it, I think, was just getting over myself. The more messages that you get from people telling you how thankful they are that you were able to share with them and how their health has changed, that just is like a stitch in the blanket of confidence, I feel like, for lack of a better analogy.
That's a good one.
Thank you. That's all I got. Everybody awake? We've all been over. Any questions?
Let me stop the recording.